We don't want to have somebody up there that has the power to change things, and if they start to change things, they give them a program, we'll go ahead and put in a clone. Because we don't have anybody that won't do our bidding for what they have. Well, I'm not going to tell you who they are, but you look at some of the world leaders right now, and look at their facial features, and then look at them when, like for instance, when they went into office and when they went out of office, and how did they talk, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody always talks about the stress that the job gives to them. And that's why they look so different from whenever they get
the stress breaks them down. That's the reason why my doctor says, my friend that treats them, says the biggest thing that they have a problem with, they have to come in and retune them up because stress will break them down. Now, with stress breaks the people down, right?
Yeah.
Ones that have a soul, you have stress, it becomes distress or it becomes disease after a while. Well, the clones don't have that thing, but because they're thinking beings, it's basically a computer that's running. The stress causes the short circuits in it.
They don't have any empathy, is what you're saying?
It's a real sci-fi, but it's for real. You and I are living in a real, what we call sci-fi zone, if you want it, or an X-Files, as I say it.
Mm-hmm. That was good, Joe.
Okay, thank you. Hey, I have another question on here, actually coming from the internet. Let's see. Lewis Collins from Queensland, Australia. Let's see, George. He visited your site and had a question for you. What is happening in a place called Malini in Queensland, Australia? Do you have any idea, George?
No, and Australia, of course, that's where the Rockefellers built their huge underground facility in Pine Gap. That was for 50,000, the so-called elite. When things all break apart, they want to be in the southern hemisphere, and they've calculated that's a compound, and they finished that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, because they were all set, or a little longer. But they've got it running and everything that's going to be underground. Now, the reason why they picked the southern hemisphere, the plan is to get a nuclear, if you want to call it, winter in the northern hemisphere. When we get started, you watch Israel. When I'm telling people, if you see a bomb dropping in Israel, which is scheduled right now, a nuclear bomb, that'll begin World War III, which is planned, and that will spread to the United States. Russia has about 22,000 nuclear warheads. We have about 12,000. And rest assured, they're going to go. They didn't build them just sitting there to play around. They're going to shoot them off. Now, Russia's provided all the nuclear technology to Iran. In the last 6 months, or this last year, Russia's been pulling out all the nuclear scientists away from Iran, from Russia. I mean, the Iranians are still building everything, but they have all the stuff and the technology. North Korea has the ability to launch one of their missiles, and some of their missiles can put out frankly, ELF rays, if you want to look at it, to basically bring our country to its knees instantly by shutting down all electronic devices instantly, including your car.
Wow. I had one question, George. Have you heard anything, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but the Gulf of Aden or something like that?
Yeah, the Gulf of Aden.
Aden, yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on over there? Do you know anything about that stuff?
Well, that's just the flow of oil. Oil is basically, if you want to look at it, that's the grease that's running the world, and we're running out of oil everywhere right now. And Mexico will be out of oil in 2 years. They're exporting 30% of their oil. Canada is our largest importer, but the Gulf of Aden is where all the oil flows from that's coming down to the rest of the world from the sweet oil they're coming over there, and that's a hot spot right now.
Well, if you look on like YouTube's and that, there's ships from all over, all different countries, and they're saying that there's some kind of a vortex there. That the speculation is that whether it be ETs are coming in and out or will be. I don't know.
Well, remember, the ET situation is they can't interfere with this because there's 4 basic rules that they have, and that's in the Handbook for the New Paradigm. And I urge your listeners to go to my website, and you can download it for free, or you can read it for free.
And it's nohoax.com, is that right?
Right, and it's called the Handbook for the New Paradigm. And then it and the series of books is to awaken you to who and what you are, and also to give you a solution on an individual basis, and also be part of what we call the ground crew in order to, what you were asking and originally started out, is there anything we can do? And the information in the books is the only thing that I know, because other than the physical realities that we have on the planet, we have to start thinking outside of the box and come back to the spiritual nature of man and understand who and what we really are. And that's all spelled out in the Handbook series. That's the Handbook, Embracing Rainbow Becoming. Anyway, it's up on the website for free downloading. We're trying to get the information around the planet. There's many groups that are forming. They're called the ground crew.
Right.
All over the planet, everywhere.
Okay. So we did have another question here about free energy or engines that were that had didn't require any kind of energy to run. Is there like 0-point energy that you know of or anything like that?
Well, yeah, I'm with some friends that have little motors that run. They're just off of magnetics, just magnets. But remember, you're still using other materials, and you still have bearings and things that do it.
Right.
The ETs there's plenty of energy in the universe. It's the portability of the problem. In other words, how do we take it? The largest energy solution we have right now on the planet is the sun, right?
Right.
In other words, we have solar power that's starting to come down.
Right.
The problem is, again, the scientists that are working on it should look at the ancient technologies they come down and how to divide light, which light really works and which one doesn't. In other words, you can have a light, but it doesn't make the plant grow, but you can get a certain frequency, and they call them grow lamps, don't they?
Right.
Grow lights. So you know that there's a different frequency that works on doing that. Well, it's the same thing from the ancients. Like they used to say that the pyramids were all capped with certain things in order to bring in the energy that was fed in. How did they build these big cities, and how did they build them all? By using the energy of the universe. And the universe has got plenty of energy. What we are is nothing more than condensed light or condensed energy.
Right.
So the idea is, how do we get to that point? Now, we can have there's small motors that are running around on light. For instance, little toys, as a matter of fact, little toy cars that just use the solar power to run the motor, to run the thing around. We have bigger ones, and they're on the internet. And there's plans, and on our site, on nohoax.com, we have a DVD, which has hundreds of devices that run basically either 0-point or next to it. Why doesn't people sell it? Because most of the ones that bring up to that technology, the big players don't want that because they can't make any money on it.
Oh. So what are your views on 2012, the 2012 phenomenon?
Well, Jose Arguelles was a friend of mine. He's, wrote the book on 2012. On the Mayan calendar. The problem is just the dating. Like we change the date every 4 years on our calendar because we make a leap year.
Right.
Well, the 2012 date is an arbitrary date to determine. My sources are saying that date is probably moved up 15 years, so it'll be like 2025 or something like that. We're going to have it. But I also know this year is the escalation of a lot more geophysical changes that are going to happen on the planet. In other words, more earthquakes, more winds, more hurricanes. Everything is going to be going on in big time because of the cycle of our planet and what's going on with the sun right now. These enormous rays are starting to come out of there. So our weather patterns are enormously changed. I'm in the Northwest right now. In January, I'm in Idaho. in January, for the whole month, we had 1.2 inches of snow. Now, what has happened in Washington, D.C.? How much snow did we have over there in the last 4 days?
Too much.
Right. Well, it's the same thing that's going on. It's like going up to Vancouver and having the Olympics up there, and they don't have any snow. The weather is changing all over the planet, however. So that's